Good day everyone, welcome back. Now today we'd be taking a look at Tamiya's M48A3 Patton, and despite this being an old kit, it still is quite decent and fun to build. So here we have some of the major external parts. You have the thread pieces, both bottom and lower half, top and lower half, sorry, and also the hull. So first let's take a look at the turret. From the get-go, you can see that there's some um, detailed texture of the surface, as you can see right there. However, I think this can be improved on a little more. And also the mantlet cover, you can see is already molded on. You would have to attach the gun and also like the outer mantlet to complete the look. However, if I'm not mistaken, there is some gap in between this, the one that's attached to the turret, as well as the mantlet. So you would have to bridge that gap right there. Other than that, the turret looks fairly decent and quite nice. Simple attachment right there. Lower piece goes under, and if I'm not mistaken, there's not a lot of interior to go around with, except of course for this, where I guess you can attach a clear part so that it doesn't look empty. Going around to the hull, you can see it's a tub kind of hull, and standard to Tamiya's old kits, they do have the motorization holes, so you can go ahead and fill that in if you want, or just leave it as is if you won't be turning the hull around so much. And iconic with the, let's try to get this together. Okay, now iconic with the M48 Patton look is the front of the hull, which has its bulbous look right there, as you can see. However, when attaching these two pieces, you can see that there would be a line that would be forming here. So even if you try to press it down, you could see a distinguished line right there. So I would recommend that once you attach these two hull pieces together, go ahead and fill this in with some putty and then sand it down, and just go ahead and put that texture on the front of the hull, because that is somewhat prominent with the M48A3. Now for the other pieces right here, driver's optics. So basically most of the external parts would be coming from the other sprues included with the kit. So you would have to be building up the exterior and also the back panel and other attachment points here. For the running gear, you can see that it's fairly molded with details. The bolts right there. There we go. As you can see also, from the get-go, there's not a lot of fitting issues with the hull. So I think this is quite nicely done. Oh yes, however, one thing to note is that Tamiya did base this tank off of a real one without the engine inside. So without the engine, without the additional weight, the Patton was actually higher than it's actually supposed to be. So Tamiya went ahead and designed it as is, based on the one without the engine. So now it's sitting relatively higher than how it should be. I was told that if you go ahead and correct the height of the tank of this kit, you would have to be adjusting the tracks, and after you adjust the tracks, everything else would follow. So if you have time and patience, I think you can go ahead and do some corrections on this, especially with the height of the tank. However, you can still build it out of the box. So that's it for these two major parts. Let's move on to the sub-assemblies. Alright, here we have the running gear, and yeah, most of the road wheels are already here. The drive sprocket and also the idler wheel somewhere here. Then you also have the return rollers and all the suspension arms. So once again, the height of the tank is higher than it's supposed to be. So you would have to correct, if you're going to correct this, you would have to be adjusting all of these parts right here. And going back to the lower hull, you can see that there are attachment points here. So if you would have to correct that, I think you would have to shave these off and manually adjust the placement of each suspension arm. Going back, you can see that most of it would be for the running gear, the road wheels, drive sprocket, and also the suspension arm and return rollers. And then for this one, as you can see, here we have some accessories. You have packs, or like duffel bags and whatnot. And you also have here the wading, like, I think this is a snorkel, something like a snorkel. And this is used when the tank would be going through water that's more than its like ideal wading capability. So you also have here the back panel and also part of the like mud guard. Then you have spare track links, but these would be going in and around the turret of the tank because tank crews in Vietnam used whatever they had as additional armor, so track links included. Other than that, most of the other parts you can see here would be, again, for the running gear. Save for these other ones, the ones here, that would be used for the external top part of the hull. Excuse me. Now going around to this sprue, you can see that most of the external boxes, like storage bins, are already here. Then also you have the headlights and the head guard, the like, headlight guards. So everything is molded in one piece, and also the lights are molded in one piece. So you just have to paint that over. Here you also have the driver's hatch right here, and also the excuse me, the M2 Browning machine gun. Right here you could also see crew figures for the driver, this one, and also the tank commander. Let's check this out. Fair amount of detail on the face. They're not that clunky, but of course the more modern Tamiya figures do fare better. Then you also have the I think these are water cans. Yeah, that's mostly it for this sprue. Most of it, again, are for the exterior of the upper hull. And then going around to this last part would be for the parts of the turret. So here, these ones here, they're for the prominent cupola on the tank commander's cupola. And ideally, how should we place this? Okay, so ideally, the M2 machine gun right here. So the M2 can either be attached inside this cupola. However, from what I read, some crew members, or at least some of the tank commanders, didn't quite like this as it was cramped inside this cupola. So what they did was, or ideally, they would place the M2 on top of the cupola instead. So there should be like this little mantlet right here for the machine gun. So they take out the machine gun and then instead place it on top. So you have here the option for, let's say, placing the machine gun inside the turret, or the cupola, sorry. And here, as I mentioned earlier, you have the external mantlet. It's already molded, and the mantlet cover is already molded. And as you can see, there's no once you fit this in, there would be a noticeable gap between the attachment for the turret, or on the surface of the turret, as well as the mantlet. So you would have to put something there to bridge that gap. Then you have here the 90mm gun, which is molded in two pieces. So once you put that together, you have to eliminate the seam line in the middle. Then the other parts here would be the railing for the crew, and also the basket that you would see behind the turret. And then the parts for this, as you can see right here, these parts are for the xenon searchlight and infrared. So ideally, the M48 Pattons use two variants. One was a headlight only without the infrared, and then this one, the later versions, had the xenon headlight. Uh, not sorry, not headlight, but at least a spotlight. There we go. The xenon spotlight with infrared. So there were two kinds that the Patton used. One would be the spotlight only, then this one with an infrared. And yeah, not much to go about with the other parts here, except most of these, as you could see, are for the turret already. So yeah, actually that's mostly it for this kit. There are just about 5 sprues, including the one, or this one, for the turret. It's a pretty straightforward kit, and a simple one at that. Then let's go to the decals here. I got this, or I got the decal sheet in this state already, or I got the kit with the decal sheet in this state, although most of it is still usable. And yeah, I had to do some research into this this marking right here, the one with the like shark's mouth. So yeah, you would have to take a look at the markings, each markings right here, because specific units used certain markings while others did not use those markings. So Tamiya does provide you with quite a versatile decal sheet. And then for the tracks, you can see they are the belt type, so you just have to glue it in together. And then lastly, we have here the other parts. So you have here the polycaps, which is what you'd use to attach these road wheels to the tank. And then string, vinyl tubing, as well as a clear part for the xenon spotlight. The manual for the tank, as you can see, it's just pretty straightforward. Most of the suspension right here. Going around the middle, you would have the external pieces, and also the attachment point for the driver, so you give him a nice little seat right there, which you can attach to the underside of the hull. So it's your decision how you would go about trying to put this one in. External parts, and then here again you have the xenon spotlight and infrared projector. You have the transparent glass, which is the clear part provided with the kit. Oh, and here we go. The string would be used for the cables that are attached below the bustle rack of the tank. The tubing would be used for like the connection point for the electrical wiring between the xenon and the turret, just like they did with the recent M55 Sheridan. You have that tubing that attached the spotlight to the turret. Alright, so there you go. Markings. So you have markings for the US Marines and also for the US Army. But then again, more research would be needed as to determine who used what markings. Alright, so that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a thumbs up. But if you didn't, leave a thumbs down. And let me know down in the comments below what you think of this kit, if you have it, or any feedback in general. And also, I noticed that a small percentage of the people watching are subscribed, so that means a lot of you or a lot of the other viewers are unsubscribed. So please, if you have time, hit that subscribe button. It would really help the channel grow. Until next time, stay safe, keep modeling. Goodbye.